Knows what a dynamic duo is? Who just knows from their reading, their movie going? Who knows? Alan?
The dynamic duo is the hero and their sidekick. Their companion.
Their companion. And why? Who can add to that? Why is it helpful to have a sidekick if you were a hero, Dallas?
Well, because, when you're just like one person, it becomes just a lot harder. Whereas, if you have someone with you, it can help you in any number of ways, from physically to emotionally to mentally. I'm just, a way of being able to look at something at a different angle, or anything from that to actually needing your physical help to help you get pulled out of something.
Precisely. And thank you for being so elaborate with your explanation, because it's helping students who've never heard this concept before. Thank you. Ben, what can you add?
Compared how Batman to Robin. Robin is kind of like he's being mentored in a way by Batman, because he's got the same equipment and he's learning how Batman looks at things, and so he can learn from that. Also, the working together as a team, they're learning how to do that, because once one of them, if one of them needs to go solo, they're going to have to work with the people around that area, and so they're going to have to learn how to work together with somebody. And that's the thing.
Well, you're reminding me of something else, which is when you teach a concept to a sidekick or a friend, is really how you reinforce your own learning. When you actually help someone learn a concept, you're reinforcing it for yourself. Do you feel like you could have a conversation about sidekicks now based on? I want to point out something really quickly, if I may. We're being filmed today.
Oh, no.
We're on television, which means the students in the back row need to be very quiet with their hands. Is everybody good with that? All right.
What channel are we?
I'm just going to tell you why we're being filmed so that you understand. It's always good to know the purpose. It's to help other teachers incorporate project-based learning into their teaching practices, and they wanted to see a project rollout. And I'll explain to the camera. This is an unusual project rollout because, well, not unusual. It's a brand new project this year with some tweaks. And this is the first time I've ever worked with students in duos. And we have a couple exceptions to that rule. We have a couple of trios in the room. But primarily, this is an experiment to see how a project works with dynamic duos. So right now, your job is to have a quick conversation with your partner and find out what makes you dynamic as a team. And if you want, you can refer back to the habits of the mind. What habits do you practice well? And what habit does your partner practice well? Also think back to projects that you've done already this year, and what strength have you brought to a team? What makes you dynamic as a partner? I'm going to give you quite a bit of time to discuss this, and when you're done, you need to be prepared to share out the dynamic qualities of your partner, not yourself. So be a careful listener, and at least have 2 dynamic qualities per person. You good with that?
Sure.
How many are you going to have? 2. And whose are you going to share? Your partners. Go.
Okay, I think what makes me a hero is funny. I like work ethic. So yeah, I don't take things too serious. So if you take things too serious, you kind of stress out. So you have to have fun, so you don't stress out.
That's one thing.
What makes you feel a good person?
It means shortening up years.
No, you're gonna show it to other schools and middle schools?
You can say that
Miguel and I've asked him 3 times.
Let's have Miguel ask him and see what happens. How are you guys feeling about this conversation? Oh, so you don't want to be on it? What's dynamic about you as a partner?
My hair.
How does that help me as a team member that you have great hair? You're not going to take this seriously?
I just been I walk my ass off for
Do you think that'll be helpful in this project? Have you had to write in any projects?
so my parents used to be rich. So
No?
yeah.
Is it one of the things that you're graded on?
No,
On a rubric?
my dad got ripped off. Anyways, but
Do you want to know what
not
I think you bring to a team?
Bro.
Very wise. And often when you read something,
So I
you
have a lot
don't
of
necessarily see what everyone else sees. You have a different perspective on it.
yeah. So
So I want both of you to get up right now. I'm giving you directions. Go look at those habits of the mind and remind yourself of them really quickly. And see if you can find one that you practice fairly consistently. Both of you, go do that. Take a look.
Ben,
What else?
what are 3
Do you
things
like,
that makes
you
Will
like
awesome?
questioning and finding problems and solutions?
Everything. You can't take that away from me.
You need help. You need
One
help.
more thing.
She doesn't know what.
So help me now if you're ready to have a conversation. Help me now if you're ready.
I think we're also very creative.
Thank you. How am I going to know you're ready? So take a moment before I
Oh, I said that was like outgoing.
to prepare something to say. So rehearse in your mind what your partner said and how they're dynamic in a team. Take a moment to prepare something to say. So Naphtali, could you share a quality for each of your partners, your trio?
We all said we take responsible risks.
Can you explain a little bit about that?
We all said that we do that.
Did anyone give an example? Can anyone give an example now? Because that's a pretty sophisticated habit of the mind, taking responsible risks. Who can share an example of how they do that?
Well, this is like something I've never done at before. Like sometimes you just really don't know what to do, and then you just have to do it and just like take a risk and do it. And like sometimes it actually turns out way better, and sometimes not. But I think it's a good quality to have.
And you're making me realize that I'm kind of taking a responsible risk with this project because after we roll out the material today and I show you the briefcase, I'm not going to do a whole lot more. And I'm really putting this project in your hands as small teams, and it's going to be up to you to decide what it is that you need from the teacher or one another to make this project happen. So you reminded me I'm going to take a responsible risk with this project and just trust you guys are ready to roll with using the project briefcase as your friend and ally. Vanessa, I don't know where everyone is now that I moved you around. Yes?
About her, right?
Yes.
I said that she takes, she's persistent.
Brenda's assistant?
Like, let's say we're doing something, like, let's say, like a project. She tries to do, like, the best work she can. And if she doesn't like it, she just, like, keeps trying to make it really better and stuff until she gets, like, what she wants.
I've noticed that about you too, Brenda, that you don't give up. You keep poking till you get it right. What did Vanessa share about herself?
That she's really creative. Coming to projects, she finds the best way to make it fun and interesting with pictures and a lot of things that makes it colorful and pretty for all of us to get entertained by it.
When you said the word fun, remember that book I said I was reading at 2 a.m.? They said that the most creative work environments are fun. If you're not having fun, you really can't be creative. So I'm hoping, since we're rolling into the holidays, that this project is fun for all of us. Monique. I'm sorry, I'm going to ask you to speak up, and I'm going to stand over here by the door.
She said that she's stubborn, but a good listener.
Did she explain?
Yeah, like she can be stubborn sometimes, like in a group, like with choices. And she's artistic or like creative, like if it's an art project or something.
And Miranda, what did Monique share for you?
She's a good listener and very creative.
Creative. Actually, you are a very creative and artistic team, which should play well into this project for sure. I'm going to cheat my cards and call on one more gentleman, Marcella.
I told you. So my partner said that she was creative and likes working with groups.
Like what?
That she's creative, like she's good at art, so she says she likes doing like art related stuff. She's creative, so
Good. There'll be some choice around that in this project, some creative choices to make. And Carolina, what did Marcelo tell you about himself as a dynamic duo?
He said that he doesn't take it too seriously. That like more fun and
Again, fun, right? We'll see about that. See what happens. Well, I want to introduce you to someone and tell you a little bit about the origin of this project with the help of my friend Caesar, who is now a sophomore. Can you want to set that up first?
Yes.
Oh. Yes, it's frozen, so unfreeze it. This project is a combination of ideas that, just to give you a little background, this is the first time I've taught a standalone English class as project-based. So the projects that I do with Ms. Dennett in Communication Studies has drama as a component. So all the projects that we're doing this year have to be sort of tweaked and recreated so that the drama is not a component, because we don't have the time. We're not together 10 hours a week, we're together 5 days a week. But yet we have to cover the same standards and the same material in a new and original way. And I was struggling with that, like how do we do this? And I was conversing with a group of friends that are now sophomores about some projects that we did last year. And through that conversation, they gave me the inspiration to kind of marry two projects together in a kind of strange and unusual way. So, Caesar, you want to get us started, and then I'll add in?
Okay. So, like you said, I'm Caesar, and I'm a sophomore here, and I'm here to roll out your guys' project. It's the Odyssey. So what this project is, you guys are going to read the book Odyssey by the poet Homer. And what we want you guys to do is we want you guys to pick up certain life lessons that are in the book. In the book, when I read it, there were many life lessons in it. So we want you guys to pick a specific one. These are some pages from last year's project. Us reading some book to the kids over at McPherson.
Yeah, just to get you started on that, it was a different project than the Odyssey. Last year, Caesar, tell them what you did with the Odyssey last year.
What we did with the Odyssey is we read the book and we kind of gave it our different twist at the end. So we created a different ending. What we believe, how we wanted it to end.
No, that was different. That wasn't the Odyssey.
Oh, was it? Are you sure?
The Odyssey, you told it as a modern story.
Oh, right. Sorry, I messed it up. It was a different project.
We'll count that up to nerd.
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell them again what you did with the Odyssey.
We compared it to a modern version to the Odyssey. So what we did, we compared it. What we did then? We kind of compared it to a battle in the army. Do you remember what we did?
The Battle in the Army.
The battle in the army.
So last year, Vintage asked our school to read the Odyssey because they had to read it too, and their feeling was like, how does this 3,000-year-old story even relate to anyone now? And so we read the Odyssey. Everyone read their own section and found the lesson or the moral of the story and rewrote it so it was current for a teenage audience, and we gave those as movies to Vintage, and they watched and scored them for the class. This project came later in the year. Remember a moment ago when I said we're going to blend two ideas together? You know what, I'm going to take questions, but not yet. Save it for a need to know. I know you're frustrated, but just hang on to that. Because the other thing I read in my creativity book is that frustration leads to inspiration. So being frustrated is a good thing. This project was called Ways to Care. And Caesar, why don't you tell the students what you did with this project?
You won't mess it up this time.
No.
So the Ways to Care project, we were assigned this project in communication studies. And what this project was is we were given a task to think of something, how we can give back to the community. So what we did in my group, these are my group team members, and what we did, we decided to collect the books and donate them to the McPherson children, the kindergartners. And what we did, we collected over 80 books and we read them to the kindergartens over at McPherson. And we found it very inspirational. And we gave them the books that we read.
And it was, the students were so moved by doing this. When they first started the project, they thought, you know, okay, we're going to collect some books. We know literacy matters. We're going to go over there and give them to the kids. But when they sat there and read them to the kids, and the students gave us so much love back. They were so appreciative, and some of the kids said it was the first book they ever owned. One little girl told us that she actually slept with it under her pillow because we had to go back several days to get all of the kids. And the kids were running up to the New Tech students, just gushing with how much it meant to them.
We're hugging them, telling us thank you. Some kids didn't even know what a book was, so I thought that was really cool. That I was the first one to show them what a book was.
So the idea with this project was to try to figure out a way to read the Odyssey, reinvent it for a modern audience, and at the same time give something back.
So the mixture of the two, we mix those two projects together, and what we want you guys to do is make a comic book. Does anybody know what a comic book is? I'll take some questions.
Comic book is like just like kind of like a picture book, except like there's different columns and there's like it can vary from usually action in it, but it could be like suspense or it could be mystery. You kind of like it's kind of like those extreme genre. Like if it's action, it goes really into action. If it's like mystery, it goes like really into mystery. So it's kind of like emphasizes things.
Anybody else?
A storyline moved by action.
Last one.
And it always or almost always is shown instead of by pure words, mainly having pictures with the words to show what's happening more of a moving image rather than having your mind create the entire image.
And the reason New Tech and language arts teachers like this idea of turning something different and big and from another era into something new and modern and shrunk and compacted, because that's hard brain work. It's called synthesizing information and making it connect to your world. And we thought with the messages that are embedded within, go to the next slide. The messages that are embedded within the Odyssey, they're so meaningful for a teenage audience. Why didn't we blend teenagers' love of comic books, your creativity in the room, with important lessons they need to know, and then share those lessons with teenagers one-on-one, and donate your creations to the Boys and Girls Club. So we're in the process of making that work, and you are going to get to decide how you want to have that happen. Been having conversations with fourth period already about that, and we may go to them, they may come to us. You're going to have to start thinking, how do you want that interaction to really happen? But that's the meaningful part, right, Caesar? When you sit one-on-one with somebody and share.
Yeah, it makes me feel good inside.
In this case, you'd be helping a peer.
So back to this slide about the comic books, you will be making them about the Odyssey. And your theme of the book will be of a certain life lesson in the book. And you can make it as long as you want, as long as you get your point through the theme. So we were just, so this is for the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm wondering if you have any questions for Caesar before we let him go to class, and you guys can generate some need to knows. But do you have any questions for Caesar before he goes about his experience with the Odyssey or the other project? Should we just thank him? Algebra, go to algebra, quick. I'll take care of this. So I want to give you time to think and develop need to knows. And if you have to do this, if one person on your team gets a laptop out and the two of you huddle up around the laptop, there's an activity called Need to Knows period 3. And if you click on it, there's some directions. If you could just twist and turn 1 second. Sort of confusing. There are 2 Hero Journeys projects, right? We're continuing our hero's journey now as we read the original. So the new project is this top one with the ship. Click there and you'll find the resource.
I don't know. Do we have team members?
I'm going to go back a moment and I heard someone say something that reminded me that. Quick, swivel. Capture the number of your team. Everybody capture the number of your team. I'm going to click off of this. You need to type your information.
This is Provenza.
9.
In the need to knows, you only put you.
I'll change that right now. Thank you. Appreciate it. Does everybody have their team number?
Yeah, but you can't type in this.
I know, I'm changing it right now. Thank you for reminding me.
What? Oh. It's another. No, it's another. Let's move the parcel. See? usually do this, but this is people who like to do that.
Okay, there you go.
Well.
So reading.
So why did I ask for one computer?
Left, right. I don't recall you asking for one computer. So
Does anyone here remember me saying that? So let's decide who's going to type. Put this one away.
Do you like this project?
Put this in such a way that
Well, I mean, you're good at art, right?
Uh-oh. You guys want to log on?
Okay, I still can't.
It's not there, but we can't.
Refresh. I just allowed you. Class, you don't have to look at me, but just listen. If you can also add the no's, there are no team numbers for the no's, but just type in what you know about this project and try not to repeat information. But we need to have what we know.
Someone wrote hey. Spelled it right.
No, it's helpful. Thank you.
Put my last name.
The team is going to add, you're making comments.
You know there's a top.
Looks like we're getting our news.
Wow, I'm not doing this. Someone deleted my whole question.
Or nose. I'm writing.
Oh, okay, I can have it. That's the right word. Wait, how do you spell your name?